got our brand new shipment of superworms, so it's time to clean out my superworm containers. And the biggest ones we need to put into their individual containers. That way we can get them to turn into beetles so we can breed more. Yeah, so here we go. So I was going to show you my setup. So I use a 3-tier setup. The top one I keep for the beetles whenever I have them. They've all gone away right now. The middle one I use for either larger or smaller superworms. And then the bottom one I do the opposite, because you don't want to mix them together because the larger ones will eat the smaller ones. Alright, so today we are going to be emptying it out, and you just slide this out. I'm going to have to use 2 hands, so put you down for a second. Alright, I've got them out now, and I've also got my colander here in the trash can, and I'm just going to pour them into it. These are big enough I don't have to worry about them going through, but this will just allow all of the ground up oatmeal to go through. Alright. Now I used to not grind it up, but then I found, I discovered this nifty trick. So I used to have to pick all of the worms out when I changed it out. But now, it takes a little bit, but it will fall through all of the cracks. And I know this looks like a lot of work, but it actually is a lot less than going, alright, here's a worm, dig, 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 alright, here's a worm. So I'm going to finish shaking this out, and we'll go from there. I did want to say that I do suggest doing this outside because it raises a lot of dust, but it's dark outside right now and I wanted to be able to record this for you guys, so I'm going to do it inside. Alright, so now we're down to just pretty much the worms that's left and a little bit of vegetation that's left. So now we're going to put the worms into their individual containers. This is just a tackle box that I got that's made to let the water flow through, and so that gives them some ventilation, and I didn't have to worry about poking holes, whereas with this I actually had to drill in holes for ventilation. But to get them to turn into their beetles, we're just going to put them right in here, because they will not turn into beetles if they touch each other. They will stay in the worm stage as long as they're touching. So if you separate them, then they will change. And I don't have nearly as many large worms as I would have liked to have had, but we waited a little bit longer than normal to get more. Usually I like to do 2 containers of this because I don't have that high of a success rate normally, but I'm just now learning. So I've learned a lot of things, like they like to be in the dark. And they like to be in a warmer place than colder, so that helps. But we just put each one in their own individual little cubby. And once we do this, we're not going to give them food or water so that they will change, because they will not lay eggs as a worm. They have to transform into the beetle stage. Don't want to spill those. Now your worms can climb your colander, so you don't want to leave them unattended. Alright, so I've got one in every single hole, and there are 4 worms left, so I'm just going to feed these to my beardy. because there's 4 left. And I don't want to have to start a whole nother container full. Alright, so these guys are going to get shut up. And they are going to sit on top of this in our cabinet in the dark. Now it's time to get our new worms ready for their home. This is just a thing of whole grain old-fashioned oats that I have pureed in a chopper. The chopper was about 15 bucks at Walmart, and it just really dices them up really nicely. It's electric. I found that a coffee bean grinder actually works really, really well, but it doesn't do enough at one time. So we're just gonna spread this all out. You don't want your substrate too thick or it'll start to stink and because it'll build moisture in the bottom. But I'm about to put a lot of worms in here, so I'm going to actually take some of this out and put it onto the bottom as well, because we're going to separate them out because I got 1,000 worms and I don't want to put 1,000 worms in this by itself. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take some of this and put it on the bottom and then add some more to the bottom, and we will return. Alright, so I've already poured all of the ground up oats that I have into the containers, but we need some more for the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and grind up some more. Alright, so we're not doing a whole lot today because I couldn't find anywhere that had the large containers that I usually use, so we're just going to be using this small container. This is the chopper that I used to do it. It was about 15 bucks at Walmart, something around there. I have used a coffee bean grinder and it works great, except for it takes so long because it has such a small capacity. So I just find that this gets it done faster. So all we're going to do is pour some in. I'm going to make a mess because I'm doing this one-handed. You don't want to fill it too full because you want these to be able to move around. And you're going to put the lid on. Alright. And what I like to do is go ahead and do this entire container at once. That way I don't have to worry about it again until it's time to add more. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, so this next part I do suggest you do outside because they can get away from you. But like I said, it's dark outside and I wanted to be able to record this. I did purchase these superworms from Rainbow Mealworms. I also ordered 50 wax worms for little treats. But the superworms come in this little mesh bag. They're also in newspaper. Let's see if you can hear them. Hear them moving around in there. Alright, now, when you do this, do it over an area that can get dirty or outside, because you see all that stuff that falls out of this bag. There's 1,000 superworms in here, so they produce waste. But I will clean up my table very, very well with bleach water whenever I'm done. So let's get this thing open. So this next part I am going to have 2 hands to do, so I won't be able to record it. But I just kind of wanted to show you how they come. So you see they're just crawling. They're just crawling all over the bag. They're crawling all over the newspaper. They eat through the newspaper. So what I suggest is to take one sheet out at a time and shake them down into something. Like another plastic container. Or you will have them everywhere. So I have a big plastic container I shake them down into. I check both sides of the newspaper, make sure that there's none attached. And then I use that other container to transfer it into their permanent home until they get eaten. So I'm going to do that now, and I will be back. Now normally I don't do it this way, but I wanted to show you what it'll consist of. So they'll have all of these wrapped up newspapers, and there'll be worms all in them. So get them off of both sides. Always open it up really good because they like to hide in these little cracks and crevices. So just so you know, so there'll be a lot in some, not so much in others, and then I always keep the trash can by me. Just so I can go ahead and throw the paper in there once I know that it's completely cleared of worms. And this is what 1,000 medium-sized superworms look like. They're very weird to touch. But there's all different sizes in here. They're mediums, but they can range in size. I usually get the smalls to start out with because they last us so long. But I went with medium this time. I hope I didn't overdo it. But the reason I wanted the mediums is because I wanted to be able to start more beetles faster. So I'm just going to move these guys. I'm going to put half into the bottom and half into this middle one, just so they're not all crawling all over each other. Then I'm going to feed them and get them into their home. Now they will immediately start to bury themselves in the substrate, and before long you won't even be able to see these guys. But I will feed them, so they will come up to eat for that, because I don't know when the last time they ate was, but they did munch on some paper a little bit. But we want to get them nice and nutritious for our beardy. So I'm going to give them some food and put them up for the night and let them get used to their new home. And I forgot to show you the wax worms. I'm actually going to give her a few of these for a treat tonight, just because she's dying over there as she hears all the worms. So we're just going to give her a few as a treat. Now these guys will stay in this container. They do not get fed, and they will just stay in the fridge. And I'll just take a few out at a time whenever I'm ready to give her a treat, and let them come to room temperature, and then they will get lively again. They go a little dormant when they're cold, but when they heat up, man, that's what I get for doing it one-handed. That's why you have to wash the table. When they warm up, they will get lively again. If they don't, toss them, or if they start to turn black, toss them, because that means that they're dying. Thank you so much for watching. You can click to check out another video. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the newest videos that come out. Please remember to comment below on what you'd like to see next. I want to hear from you, because you guys help guide me on where to go.